All right.
Nice.
What's up, chat? This is NAT3MILL from ReelChat with Chris. We are going to be going
Yo.
over Godzilla vs Kong, and then I might be still gaming in this in in this tournament. I don't know. My partner is at the movies with his son since we thought that the thing was over. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what's up.
Wait, does that mean you guys have to play tonight?
I think so, man. I need a partner. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if I can get a sub. I don't know if it's just me that has to go against them. The other guys, the guy that's running the tournament's not getting back to me. I don't know what's up. Anyway, this is my focus right now. Jacob, if that's you, Jay Viggy, if that's you, bro, I'm down to just game and we'll see how it turns out. Chris, let's get on Godzilla vs Kong, bro. Let's discuss. Let's open that up. YouTube, welcome to the next episode of ReelChat, reviewing Godzilla vs Kong. Just came out this week. It's been a lot of hype for this since the first Godzilla movie came out. I think we were all excited when they made Godzilla vs Skull Island and stuff. The movie was crazy. Yes, the movie was nuts. I will say that much. I will open the floor now to Chris to go over what you thought of your film. You were excited. You were a big Godzilla fan. Yeah, I'm a big King Kong fan. Yeah. So let's go. Let's jump into it.
There's a lot to unpack on this, and I think we'll just do it organically. But I mean, I don't want to spoil our talk going into it too early, but I was actually I had high hopes, man. You nailed it. I was excited. I think that while King Kong isn't probably the big 3 or 4 even in the Godzilla canon, you think Mechagodzilla, maybe King Ghidorah. There are some other big bads that we've kind of seen in this monsterverse, and I was excited. I think with the properties involved, I think with the production value, people were hype about it, and not just that. Skull Island had some really good reviews. I mean, and I know we don't like to linger and kind of hang on Rotten Tomatoes, but I mean, a lot of studios do, and just like the Snyderverse, was kind of driven by audience. A film can be greenlit or killed because of it. But Skull Island did a really good job to create the Kong creature and bring them into the MonsterVerse, because I mean, it's pretty safe. Would you say, I'm just going to ask really quick, would you say that King Kong or Godzilla is the more, I guess, recognized kaiju of those two? Which one would you say is more recognizable?
the kaiju, like Godzilla or King Kong?
Yeah.
Okay, so my history, this is where your history might come into this play with this, because I know you love horror, I know you love everything monsters and stuff like that. That's your huge thing, right? So, yeah. I feel King Kong okay, correct me if I'm wrong. King Kong came out before Godzilla in movie standards, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my feeling, I think King Kong paved the way for Godzilla. That's just my point in looking over the history and stuff like that too. Like, he's got a lot of movies, like one of his first sets of movies and stuff like that, and then he even set up there was a black and white version of King Kong versus Godzilla originally, right? This is like almost the second telling of it.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. That's true. Oh, of King Kong versus Godzilla? Yes, this is the second telling of it. Yeah.
Shelly, thanks for the follow.
Which, by the way, just in addition to that, there were 2 different endings. One from Toho, because King Kong's owned by Universal and Godzilla owned by Toho, which of course it's like, we have what happened with Iron Man and Spider-Man, where Sony owning Spider-Man and Marvel and Disney owning Iron Man, they had to come to some agreement. So they shot 2 endings for the original. One where King Kong wins and one where Godzilla wins. So both, I guess, countries were okay with that. And it is true. I mean, I think King Kong did come first, and I think that there's a lot of allegories for both creatures. And that goes much deeper than what we're going to talk about. But those are very interesting stories to see how those creatures are born, because I'm sure you and I have talked about the big part of making your villain is relatable is also creating a villain that society's kind of manifested, whether it's from racism. With you could draw very easily with conclusion with King Kong. In fact, Quentin Tarantino does at Inglourious Basterds, and him and Eli Roth talk about that. But additionally with Godzilla, with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, where the fear of this nuclear energy is now in the world, and how you can kind of manifest that into something that because nuclear energy is such a big concept, but a creature that's born from that is more, you have a direct pinpoint to this is kind of where that's coming from. So while the allegories are there to create these things, I think throughout history they've become more and more interesting. I will say that King Kong, and I think Eric Azana said this best, every time King Kong comes into the film, it's because he's brought and affected by humans. Mm-hmm. Humans are the reason that Kong is the monster. Kong isn't the monster because he's just a monster. He's a monster created because of what humans have done to him.
Okay.
Would you say that's true, or would you have an opposite view of that?
Okay, so look at this. If you look at my stream right here, this is the original King Kong versus Godzilla fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's very old and stuff like that too.
Man in the suit stuff.
Yeah, kind of like I remember they were even trying to get a little person to play Kong so they could make even little miniature stuff against him. But if you watch this, and again, I don't own the rights. This is on YouTube, people. But obviously, you look at it. Godzilla's got a lot of stuff. He's got the breath, he's got the spikes, he's got the claws and stuff like that too. Godzilla, I feel like going into it, King Kong's he's kind of overpowered a little bit. That's just me, right? That's just he's very much of a disadvantage. I feel like, but I think King Kong's got a little bit more smarts, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the way I would say it. That's the way I would put it. Right?
Very simian, right? Very problem solving.
I mean, they gave him an axe. In the trailers, he's got the axe, which I don't know the history about that. Maybe somebody else can tell me in chat if they're a little more.
There isn't. I can tell you right now, there's not. How did you feel about that? Giving a creature a weapon like that? How'd you feel?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like it's the shard of the axe is a piece of a Godzilla family or something like that, absorbs the energy just like his spikes charge up when he does it's called the atomic breath, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay. Yeah. So it charges up when he does that. And when he blocks the breath with it as well. I will say this. I thought Godzilla and King Kong, the fight in the trailer, I thought that was Mechagodzilla wearing a flesh suit looking like him. I was let down with the way Mechagodzilla looked. I did not like it. I thought it looked cheap.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I want to touch on some things you mentioned too, because so I've seen it twice. I watched it actually at 12:45 when it came out because we've been waiting for this for. I did, and it's because I want to be entertained, right? We're guys in the entertainment field, so the fact that we've been entertainment starved since the beginning of COVID, and of course there are bigger issues than to say, oh, I can't see a movie. I get that part of it, but this is the first tentpole that we've seen come out so far since, or when people are feeling more comfortable to maybe go to films or whatnot. Here's the thing, though. I didn't notice that shard from the axe was part of a Godzilla like plate, but you're absolutely right. On second watch, I saw that, and that's one of the bigger problems I have with this film, because I don't think that some of the bigger plot points came across on first watch. And then there you go. I'm glad you put that, because
that's the original Mechagodzilla. Yeah. That's where I remember him looking like.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And then you look at this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it looks kind of cool, but what's this? Look at the hand. What is that? It looks cheap as hell.
It's and actually that is not the right one. That actually is from a film called Ready Player One.
Oh, is it? Am I looking at the wrong one? Okay.
No, but it looks very similar to that.
Okay, Ready Player One looked better.
Yeah, it actually did look
better. Okay, here's the toy. Here's the toy that they decided to release. Oh, by the way, hey, let's not say that this is Mechagodzilla. Let's involve him that way. Let's. What?
Yeah. I didn't. The design to me, and again, I'm a purist, right? Because in Godzilla canon, there are two big bads. There's Mechagodzilla and there's King Ghidorah. And
Love King Ghidorah. I've always been a big fan of King Ghidorah.
Me too.
Even though he's an alien,
But that kind of plays into it. And also, Mechagodzilla was an alien too. That was a creature created by aliens, and they put it in a Godzilla kind of flesh suit. That was how Mechagodzilla was.
Thank you for saying that. I was hoping for that, but no, it's just like a company that somehow Godzilla is aware of. That was never explained. How does Godzilla know they're building this machine? Is he sitting in his cave where he got supercharged? He's sitting there. Oh, I'm on my Mac. I'm on my Godzilla Mac. Yep, we got to destroy it.
Well, that's my problem with it too. I didn't get that on the first watch. In fact, it took a little bit of time talking to Jessica about it, and she's like, "No, what happened was," and throughout later the film, you see King Ghidorah's head, and so you got the stinger at the end of King of Monsters where they swore that they sold, I can't think of the guy's name in Game of Thrones. King doesn't matter. Tyrion.
Yeah,
Tyrion?
Tywin. It's a
Tywin,
Clarence Dance. Clarence
Thank
Dance,
you,
I think is the actor's name. Chat, if
So
you know.
they had that skull, and so I guess what they're saying is that that King Ghidorah could link to other like pieces of information, and then it creates that alpha nest, air quotes, and that's how Godzilla could find him. It's a stretch. It's a super stretch, and I didn't even pick that up. To me, that could be very wrong, but it makes sense. Like I see the argument for it, but it didn't land for me, which is a big problem I have. Because you're right. Because how the fuck does Godzilla know to just like, and it's like a GPS beacon, right? Like he knows exactly where this thing is to the point where he uses atomic breath and opens up a hole in the walls, taking out these 2 security guards in the first maybe 15 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
To me, that just didn't land. It shouldn't have. To me, that was an issue. What did you, since you like King Ghidorah, what did you think of the use of his skull in this film? Because
I thought it was gonna be more. I thought maybe they get the flesh shoot out of him because obviously he has that growth thing. You know, he can grow back his heads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought the flesh shoot was gonna come from that. I didn't like this weird, we're gonna psychically hook up and control the machine like that. Why do you need to psychically hook up? How does the head connect to the machine?
Yeah.
Like what is there like a Wi-Fi? Is there a lizard Wi-Fi that I'm unaware of, like that, like you guys didn't explain? And all of a sudden they have that head. Sweet. Did they kill Clarence Dance off screen?
Right.
Okay.
That's a big. Yeah. We wanted to follow that character because he was he was the big bad in King of Monsters, which I really enjoyed.
I actually liked King of Monsters. I did like King of Monsters.
So did I.
Yeah.
I want to ask you at the end of this which one you prefer because they're all related. They're all in the same universe. I actually cannot stand 11 in this film. Millie didn't give her a lot to do. I'll say that.
No,
but
at
the same time, her choices, you know,
didn't make any sense to me.
No, the characters as a whole. I mean, the only male characters I really enjoyed, and I'm going to ask you this because I have an answer for it. Was this a Godzilla movie to you, or was this a King Kong movie to you?
Honestly, I felt okay, so here's my thing. You look at the characters, right? There's 2 of them. We got Godzilla, we got King Kong. Then you look at the characters under them, right?
Right.
I would have liked a little bit more about the fact that they like just brushed over the fact that King Kong is now in this stasis cage kind of thing where they're protecting him from Godzilla. Okay. What did they do? Like, and then all of a sudden, how they described, like, we went back, and by the way, that whole tribe of villagers just died, and there's just 1 girl left.
It's a stretch, right?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can kind of get it. The storm somehow came in and destroyed all of them. There's 1 kid left. I felt more of a connection to the mute girl. I can't remember her name right now. I thought she was brilliant. I felt more of a connection to her than I did to Emily Brown's character.
Yeah,
Gia. Her connection with Godzilla never made any sense. I thought she was more connected to Mothra, and we didn't get Mothra. We didn't get any other monsters in there.
I thought we would too. I thought we would have. No, continue your thought. I don't want to cut you off. I want to know how these characters you kind of vibe with and whatnot because, you know, you're right. These are sub characters. You go to the movies to watch the kaiju fight, but you have to kind of get through these human characters to kind of get that vibe. So you felt close to Gia, which so did I. I thought her story, along with Rebecca Hall's story, when they're talking about how they can speak to Kong, was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But again, I want to ask you: was it a King Kong movie or was it a Godzilla movie?
Like, King Kong.
Absolutely, right? Without a doubt.
He was the heart of the story. He was the heart of the. Yeah, I'm sorry. I love King Kong. I think Godzilla's great too, but I'm a big King Kong fan.
Right, and I think that's a big deal. I think that the way they portrayed Godzilla, I think, you know, is kind of like this mindless machine. Because he's just following his GPS beacon, and that's not really Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, like how does he connecting to the machine? Like how does he know where to kill or destroy these plants? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
right?
It's part of the Mechagodzilla when that guy zaps in, which I thought was the dumbest shit ever. When he puts his helmet on, and then all of a sudden he's like in this stasis or trance state where he can communicate with Mechagodzilla, but through Ghidorah. That just, again, it didn't land for me, and that's one and that's one of the big problems I have with it. I will also say that I think that was the way that they connected the tissue between Godzilla and finding, you know, Mechagodzilla or Ghidorah. That didn't land for me either. So the whole Godzilla Mechagodzilla link to me, that just didn't work, and I think that's my biggest qualm with it because I liked being with King Kong. I liked that he was our lens, right? Because he's our, when we take this journey, we take it with King Kong, we take it with Gia, right? We're with them, and that's they're humanistic. You can relate to them,
right?
You know, and so the fact that we followed them, that's fine. I really enjoyed it. I thought if this were called King Kong versus, you know, Godzilla, I think that would make more sense. But for me, the biggest issue was Mechagodzilla. I think that was the biggest issue I had with the film, because the design, first of all, it's very specific. The design for Mechagodzilla has always been rockets. He doesn't have that laser breath. He doesn't have that.
Yeah, he had that in this game. I was like, what? I thought it came from his eyes. Yeah, his eyes.
It does. Right. It does. And all of, and yes, and the other thing that Andrew Kincaid mentioned to me too when he was watching it was that there is no sense of like weight distribution to this, because Mechagodzilla can kind of fly through the air and jump, and that's not Mechagodzilla. That's not Mechagodzilla is a tank that, in the most literal sense, controlled by a human, and that just didn't feel like it. And so, that was just a big design flaw for me. How did you feel about him? I liked
the besides we already know Mechagodzilla was trash. I hated it. I liked the fight between Godzilla and King Kong on the ship. That was pretty cool. I liked that one a lot, with the water aspect and stuff like that too.
Sure.
That was kind of cool. How Godzilla was trying to bring him down to his element
and like, drown him.
Drown him. That was interesting. I thought that was interesting. Honestly, dude, I think the movie was a flop. It's like not a movie I would see it again unless a friend of mine hadn't seen it. You know, I'd watch it with them.
Yeah.
But I was not a fan. I'm sorry. I just did not enjoy it. I really didn't.
Yeah. And so the
Chad, what did you guys think? Put in the vote. What did you guys think of the movie? Like, tell us your point of view on this.
If they had a ranking system between 1 and 10, where would they rank King Kong or Godzilla versus King Kong? My problem with a lot of it was
we should make our own ranking system.
I'm all about ranking systems. I love charts and all that stuff. I had the fight on the ship was cool, but at the same time I felt like we saw a lot in the trailer. And then what made it worse is that we got the reveal of Mechagodzilla in like the second to last trailer of the film, and I think we all kind of knew he was going to be in it. But it's the same way when Batman vs Superman put that Doomsday was in the trailer. Like they didn't need to do that. We were going to watch it anyway.
Gojira almost died by Mechagodzilla. Yeah,
Shelley's 100% right. Yeah, Mechagodzilla wiped the floor with Godzilla.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more like even with them, just a little bit. But Godzilla went up against him. All of a sudden, he was getting trashed. I'm like, okay. The last movie we saw him in, Godzilla was at his peak, right? Did all of his like energy get displaced somehow when he was fighting, or like has it been a long time? I didn't really get what did we get like a time frame of like when the last time we saw him, you know?
No, we didn't see that. Although we did see that stupid weird like Street Fighter kind of blocking where it's like defeated, and then on one end's King Kong. That's not how you start a movie like this, man. If you don't take it seriously, the audience is gonna take it seriously. And so maybe that was the I can't think of the director's name right now. Maybe that was his design, and I just didn't love that choice. I really didn't. The other thing too that I had a problem with, well, there's a couple things of them, but
let's go down the list. Let's go down the list.
The fact that it's like I had a problem with the physics of Hollow Earth, which I'm a big nerd when it comes to conspiracies. I mean, I think most people that know me know that, and there is something to be said about that. I mean, there's a mentioning of Operation High Jump in the beginning, and if you Google Operation High Jump, you'll see that the Nazis actually had a base in Antarctica where they were trying to enter Hollow Earth.
Jotunheim.
What is it?
They called it They called it Jotunheim.
Did they?
Yep, because coincidentally, you know, I love DC. Suicide Squad is supposed to take place in Antarctica at Jotunheim.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
But yeah, you're right. They did have a base in Antarctica called Jotunheim when they were trying to go into the middle of the Earth. There was a whole high jump kind of thing. You were completely right. Go ahead, continue.
Well, no, I thought it was interesting they bring that up. But the physics of it had a problem with it, where like they're saying they have to jump this space and like King Kong will be fine, but it just, to me, again, I don't know if the writing was there for it. And I know they had a green lit after or probably before King of Monsters, because they had that stinger at the end of it where it's King Kong versus Godzilla. It just had this big issue with the writing as a whole for me with the story. And again, you don't go see these movies because of the story, right?
Right.
That's
you go into it for the fights, honestly. Yeah. But there was only like 3 fights. Maybe like the last one was 1 together, but it was like 2 against Godzilla, and the Mechagodzilla jumps in and stuff like that. But yeah, there's really only 2 fights. I was expecting more.
Only 2 fights. Yeah, a lot more. And then they could have saved Mechagodzilla for a different film. I think he was criminally underutilized. I think that they could have done different things with them. Also, the characterization of the pilot Ren Serizawa. That to me, Serizawa is the last name of the guy who kills himself to bring back King Kong with the nuclear bomb. But again, it's poor planning. They never make a mention of him. That actor was in, or that character was in, from Godzilla 2014 to King of Monsters. If he had a son, grandson, uncle, cousin, whatever, we would have known.
Let's talk about how Godzilla treats its characters that they bring into the movies, man. Godzilla, the actors and the people that put them behind him, don't treat their actors very well. Think about it. The first Godzilla, Bryan Cranston dies in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and you think he's the main, like, throughout the whole thing. No, we're hanging out with human Quicksilver and his wife, who's also Wanda,
his sister. Yeah, she's great at that, by the way. I really enjoy Elizabeth Olsen, and it's nice to see her. It was good to see her in that. But you're absolutely right. They sold the shit out of Bryan Cranston being in the film and in the trailers, and he was only in it for maybe the first quarter of the movie. Yeah, I agree. I just had such issues with the carryover characters from King of Monsters. Kyle Chandler, who plays Millie Brown's whatever, her dad.
I can never remember how to say her name.
Just
call her 11. Let's just call her 11.
Let's just do that. No respect to Millie. We promise Millie, but we just want to get through this, and we're just excited.
Let's talk about the main character of the film. Honestly, probably the best part of the film was the conspiracy theorist guy that ran the podcast.
Oh, the podcast.
Yeah, he was funny. Also, the other guy that they brought in, like, he was trying too hard. Like, Millie's friend, who just randomly shows up.
Josh, yeah.
Okay, Josh. I like that actor in Deadpool 2. This one, they didn't do justice.
That's who it is. I knew I had seen him in something. He's the bad guy in Deadpool 2, right? He's the bad guy.
Yeah. He's the fire hand guy.
I knew it. Damn it, I couldn't place him. But but yeah, I mean, and so you fail on the human element, and then you fail, arguably, in the kaiju element. And if the sum of your parts is a failure.
Yeah.
But
okay, let's get into the heart of it. Did you like the movie?
That's a hard answer for me to say, because you were going to see. I'm going to throw this back to you real quick.
Yeah.
You were going to see Justice League no matter what. You were going to see Justice League no matter what, right? Even if you knew it sucked, you were still going to watch it because you wanted to see. Okay.
Yes. I get where you're going. I get what you're putting down.
So I kind of feel the same way. Even if it was going to suck, I was still going to watch it, and I'll watch it again. But it is one thing that, and again, I've talked to people about this before. Right. It's something you put on in the background. I'm doing homework, or I'm making dinner. I want to pop in, pop out. It's not something that demands your attention through its entire hour and 50-minute run. Did you like it?
The movie? The movie?
Yeah.
I thought the movie. No, I didn't like it. I would not, like I said, I wouldn't watch. I didn't like it. I would only watch it again if a friend had come over and said, I haven't seen this yet. I'm like, okay, let's throw it on. Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't. I was let down by the fights. I was let down by the element of it. They threw so much exposition in 2 sentences and stuff like that. Oh, we got King Kong this thing. Yeah. Did you walk up to him and shake his hand and say, hey, join us real quick? It'll be fine. We're protecting you from this big scaly lizard that apparently you guys have this huge rivalry against each other for. Yeah. Also, by the way, they underplayed Godzilla's ability to fight in this film. He came out acting like a bitch. I will say that. I'm sorry. I love Godzilla. But when he was trashing Kong kind of got drowned, and he just jumped. He comes up on the other side. Oh, Kong's breathing. You can obviously see him breathing. He's a huge freaking monkey. Yeah. He's like, okay, he's done. I'm gonna go swim off. Was that just us saying okay, he's not. I'm not interested in him. I'm trying to find. My Wi-Fi is telling me to go find these guys instead.
Yeah. I see. The way I took that is that. So, what I think they're trying to do here is they're trying to make Godzilla conscious of where he stands in the food chain. It's maybe I'm thinking, maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm defending Godzilla because he's my favorite character in this whole canon. Is that maybe they're trying to give him some semblance of understanding that I have defeated this other alpha. I don't need to kill them. I just need to know them to know that I'm the man. And that's because I think that at the end of King of Monsters, when all those other monsters surround him and they kind of kneel and bow and they accept them as their king, as long as they do that, It's not like, hey, I need to defeat, and it's not Highlander. There can be only one. It's not that. You know what I mean?
Well, kind of. I mean, that's his whole thing. He was killing all the other monsters, right? And apparently, there's this huge rivalry, like the paintings on the caves and stuff. So why wouldn't he kill Kong?
But again, I think that's a problem with what we were shown, because at the end of King of Monsters, I get what you're saying. You're right. They make it sound like Godzilla is going from, it's like the Incredibles, taking this one out and that one out. And it's not that. If they accept Kong as if they accept Godzilla as their alpha, that's it. And I think that what they're saying with Ghidorah was doing was because he was linked into the brain, that Ghidorah was never going to do that, that there's some synapse, some nerve. I don't know. I can't defend that because, again, it didn't land with me. That's why he's attacking the Apex facilities. And as far as King Kong goes, I can't explain that part of it, other than he wasn't trying to kill him. He was just trying to let King Kong know that, hey, I'm your alpha. You could submit or I could kill you. And so he I think he does that twice at the very end too, when he's crushing him, and then Kong gets, get the biggest defibrillator of all time. So, but I think that's what they were trying to say with that.
I guess.
So
I don't like. I think the axe is kind of cool. I just don't like the fact that they just have this axe that he knows how to use, and he just uses it. I like the fact that Godzilla is able to, not Godzilla, King Kong is able to look around and like, okay, I can grab this and turn this into a weapon. I think they pander to the fact that we're just going to give him an edge. Why? Don't do that. He needs one. No, he doesn't need one. He doesn't need one.
Well, he got the floor mopped with him.
He was in the ocean. He was in the middle of the ocean. And until he got
part of it.
Yeah, it is part of it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. But the fact, I even like the Peter Jackson King Kong movie. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. And if you look at that one, and again, and this is the issue that a lot. I think there are way less King Kong movies, because I think to make a King Kong movie, the studio and the filmmaker and the writer and the director, they have to make a conscious effort and to say that people are the problem. Because King Kong isn't just going to come
people
out.
People are
he's
always
not
the
pop
problem.
Out of the water. Right, but think about it. But it's true. But as soon as you kind of go out then you have to create something that there is something relevant, like King Kong's Peter Jackson. They had the filmmaker, Darrow, and it's a lot like the reboot of the original one, to be honest.
It really is.
Try and bring it back, which was great though. I really enjoyed.
Shelley makes a good point. And Kong's ancestors used that axe. I get that. How did he know that's how it was used? I don't know. It felt like they just gave him a weapon just to give him a weapon.
So it's because that dude who wrote the Hollow Earth theory, Alexander Skarsgård character, where he said that some animals have this evolutionary something built into their DNA where they will remember it. Mm-hmm. And so, but again, that's in passing. So it's hard to say, oh, that's exactly why. Because I mean, that's what I think, but I'm not saying for sure that's why. So, but yeah, Shelley, that's a good point. So did you like any of the MonsterVerse films? I mean, because this is it, right?
King of Monsters.
The last one.
King of Monsters was great. I liked that one a lot.
That was your favorite?
That was my favorite out of all of them. The first Godzilla movie of this canon sucked. I'll say that right off the bat. I did not enjoy it. I remember seeing it in theaters and getting upset. Here's two monsters oh, we're gonna get it, and they get close, and then it just pans to a TV of us watching it. I'm like, no, go back. And it's not that hard to develop a relationship or compassion between humans and the monsters at all. I mean, I go back to the Broderick one where there was more of a connection with Broderick's character and his Godzilla. I felt more than Emily Brown's character in this Godzilla.
Well, yeah, I get that part of it, but I don't think it was Eleven's. I don't think it was their story, and I go back to that being a King Kong movie, because you did feel it when it was Gia. And Dr. Andrews, when they're figuring out when Kong's on the aircraft carrier and he's cold and he says he's sad and he wants to go home, you felt compassion for that, because that 100%. Was their story.
100%.
Because that was their story. And so in King of Monsters, when we follow Dr. Serizawa into that Atlantean underwater complex where Godzilla kind of goes, and Godzilla's dying, and you feel bad for Godzilla at that point, and then when you feel bad for Mothra. Because they did a good job kind of following those creatures' stories, and so they didn't do that for Godzilla on this one. That's why I will go to my grave saying this is a King Kong movie, which is fine, but and it just to me it just didn't land that way. King Kong does not win. Actually,
wins.
Godzilla lets King Kong live. King of Monsters was my favorite. I loved seeing Rodan, Mothra, Ghidorah, Godzilla. I just loved seeing all of those on the same screen. And I think that they did a big boss fight. They made Ghidorah dangerous. And in this, they never made Godzilla dangerous. They never made King Kong dangerous. They never made Mechagodzilla dangerous. Like, even though they didn't have enough of that time to create that. Where King Ghidorah in King of Monsters, that creature felt dangerous and unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because they introduced him maybe like in the first, I don't know, second, fifth of the movie. And here we have Mecha. And I know that people weren't supposed to know that Mechagodzilla was the big bad, right? Even though
good job, Legendary. Let us down.
Yeah, and not just that. Way to put it in trailers too, guys. Excellent job. But we only get like maybe 15 minutes of Mechagodzilla. It's like, how are we supposed to?
Yeah, they didn't make it dangerous. I wasn't terrified of him. There was no tension in the fight. There was only once in the game, in the whole movie, was there tension when King Kong was drowned.
Yeah, and I felt bad for that. And I remember thinking to myself at some point, because from what I had heard and researched, is that this will be the last one. There's not going to be any more MonsterVerse at this point.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
And so this would have been, and I know you and
Shelly, thanks for that point. We'll touch on that too.
Awesome. Well, what we had last one is that there's not going to be another one, so therefore, we knew in our last episode that there's probably going to be a clear-cut winner, and there wasn't that. There were no stakes at this point that we could like, hey, yeah, this is the end of it. But yeah, so I don't know.
Shelly's favorite part of King of Monsters was nuclear Godzilla pulsing Ghidorah to death. Yes, that was badass. I liked that.
Unexpected, right? That was new. That was fresh. That we hadn't seen.
I liked when he was eating him and his head was like coming out of his mouth, and he did the atomic breath up. That was cool for me. I liked that part. That was badass. But here's another thing. Godzilla kind of fought Rodan a little. Is it Rodan?
You're right, Rodan. Right.
Yeah. Mothra came in clutch at the end a little bit too. I was expecting a little bit more of Godzilla fighting other monsters as well, and not just Ghidorah, and kind of Ghidorah like being the king and having them fight them. I wanted to see more of that. I was kind of hoping for that at the end, like I was with King Kong and Godzilla. Maybe not, because it is just the title King Kong versus Godzilla, but you have Mechagodzilla. But you have all those other kaiju around, right? And they're just somewhere.
Yeah, it was a wasted opportunity.
It was a waste. Right.
Yeah, and there is in the Godzilla canon, there is a Mecha King Ghidorah. Which is deep into canon, because, and I figured that might have been something that happened. But you're right. I just have such issues with it. And but I want to say to go back to your original comment about Godzilla from 2014. That movie, and I think people would want to see a Godzilla movie. I think people like Godzilla. People want to see a Godzilla movie the same way.
Do you think they'll make another one?
Movie. I think they will, and I have numbers to support that. And I will say that the 2014 Godzilla, that was the best reviewed one there is. And while yes, Skull Island made more,
I liked Skull Island a lot.
And that one was actually the best reviewed one between Tomato and the audience. But I want to get to Godzilla vs King Kong too. That made $566 million off a $185 million budget. So that's Skull Island.
Yep.
So they're seeing returns on this. The original Godzilla, we know it was bad. It wasn't great. It was 160 million, and it made 524 worldwide. So they're pulling in almost 2.5 times their budget. King of Monsters was probably the worst reviewed one. That only made 386.
I don't understand how.
Me neither.
It was great. I liked the humor was there from the humans and stuff like that too. Just like this one with the black guy that did the podcast. I can't remember his name. I really need to write down
his name. Yeah, no. His name, the actor's name is Brian Tyree Hill, and his character name is Bernie Hayes.
Bernie. All right, Bernie. Yep.
Yeah, Bernie. He was good.
I am once again asking for your help. God, that guy was funny. He kept me going with the human element because everything else. Oh, Dad, I need your help.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling, daughter. I don't know where you're at. Bye-bye.
Right.
There was the fact that she just disappears and like bunny hops to like China on this fast freaking chain.
Again, I have a problem with that. I have such a problem with that too. The logistics of that just wasn't there. It's like, you've seen some of these old school James Bond movies where this villain has this like compound instead of a fucking volcano. Like, how did you get there? Like, when did this happen? And I thought that when you just nailed it. This guy, he's created some like underwater super tube that goes 600 miles an hour from Florida to Hong Kong. Like,
you think Godzilla would have known about that and be like, okay, snap.
Right, somebody, right, at some point. So, but the suspension of disbelief kind of, But I will say that when King of Monsters didn't do well, that's when it worried me, because that one should have done really well. If Godzilla and Skull Island, it should have. And so here's the catch for that. So Godzilla vs. King Kong, obviously, it's only been out for what, less than a week now. Maybe it's 5 days now at this point.
Yeah.
It's on track to make 30 million in the States in the theaters this weekend. It's already pulled in.
I'm waiting to see I want to see the numbers from Japan. That'll tell us.
So it was released a week before it was released here. And overseas, and I compiled these numbers, I think it was on, what day is today? I might have compiled them on Thursday or Friday. They had pulled in $123 million in the span of, let's call it 7 or 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's money there. Of course, the budget right now is between 160 and 200. They don't know. I haven't got a perfect number because, again, this thing was wrapped up almost 2.5 years ago, kind of like how Wonder Woman was, and just kind of sat there because of COVID. So between 160 and 200 million right now, as of last, I think it was, let's call it Friday, so yesterday, it's got $132 million. And that's not including the projected 30 million that's going to grab this weekend in theaters, and also its second run in Japan,
Easter holiday and stuff like that.
Exactly, which is a big date for that. So, and of course, and this number is going to change. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 79% and a 95% audience score. So it's killing it. But people enjoy it, and I attribute that to this. We're entertainment starved. I mentioned that when we first started. Dude, what's the last movie you saw in the theater? Do you remember?
Oh God. Oh man.
Exactly.
I'm literally trying to remember. I was gonna see this in theaters, but I was like, what's the point? I got it on HBO Max right here. It's so much easier to just watch it with Rachel.
And so I'm glad you said that, because here's what's happening.
Shelly, thanks for joining us, man. Put in the chat. What do you think out of a 10? 1 to 10.
We want to do
10 the highest.
10 rank system.
I'm bored. Sorry, bro. We're talking numbers. We weren't talking the fights and stuff like that too.
I know.
Next week is DC versus Marvel comics, videos, movies, and stuff like that too. Join us next Saturday for that as well, if you feel inclined. We appreciate you joining us, bro. If you have any other points or anything like that, please, we'd love to have you as a guest on the chat as well too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you want to? Hey, Shelly, do you want to see another Godzilla or King Kong movie?
That's a tough ask.
4-hour movie DC. What do you mean by that?
He's probably on the Snyder cut.
No, I know. He just posted it. Yeah. He did. He doesn't want to see another Godzilla versus King Kong. Okay. Now, I'd be interested to see another one. Honestly, maybe something better. Bring in the other kaiju or something like that, or a better Mechagodzilla that's out there in the world. I thought we were going to see Mechagodzilla a lot sooner. Instead of them saying, "Oh, we need this power source to boot it up and stuff." You have the fucking skull.
Yeah. So part of it is that Godzilla is only on loan from Toho for, I think, 4 films, because it's a Toho IP. So now they have to go back to Toho, and they're going to say, can we, if they want to do that. But I think they will, because people want to see this, and it's a big deal. This is the first movie where people feel somewhat safe. This is the first sense of regularity that people can go to the films and go to the movies, even when, like you said, you can see it at home. Right. People are still going to the movies.
I would have seen it. I would have, but it just didn't fall on my schedule this week.
But it allows you to do that. So you have the option of doing that, and now people are going out. That's why I'm going to be really interested.
Sure, you can just close. You can just close out the window or the app, buddy. I appreciate you for jumping in, bro. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you for your point.
Yeah.
Next Saturdays we're going to be talking about stuff. Just chat us in, follow us on Instagram and stuff like that. Tell us what you guys want to hear us review next time.
Thanks, Shelly. But no, dude, I think that's a big deal. I think that once movies start coming out, like Mortal Kombat got pushed a week because
I know that's why we're doing DC versus Marvel next week, and then the following week we're going to do Mortal Kombat.
Well, I think that important part of it, I would love to talk about why I think video game adaptations for films do so poorly. Like, there hasn't been one good one that I've seen ever, and I think that's some. Well, I mean, at least commercially. I mean,
commercially, okay.
World of Warcraft, that got a sequel, but because of how well it did overseas, and,
does it have a sequel? Because I actually liked that movie. It just did badly. Yeah. I don't know why.
Oh my god, I can't believe it! Are you serious?
I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a decent film. I thought the animations were great. I thought the capture was great.
Dude, that's crazy because I've talked to Eric and Andrew about it, and they liked it too. I haven't seen it. I must be the only person of my friends that hasn't seen it and probably will like it. So
I liked it a
but think
lot.
about it.
I'm a big crap. Who's the character that plays Ragnar? I can't remember his name right now. Fleming or something like that. Fleming or something like that. I'm a big fan of him, and he did a really good job in the movie. I thought he did a good job.
What, dude? Can you think of one? I know we're talking about Godzilla vs Kong, and we're gonna be wrapping that up pretty soon. But can you think of a good horror movie that
horror movie?
I'm sorry, not a good horror movie. A good video game adaptation that.
Okay. I'm going to Google. I'm trying to remember.
I know Resident Evil has got like 7 sequels, but they're all dog shit. I think that Resident Evil, the franchise, is just, and that's why
the first one was good.
The
first one was good. Yeah, the first one was great.
No, it wasn't. But here's the thing: it had nothing to do with the video game. It's got the name in it, and the fact that it had a liquor for all of 5 minutes in it. See, that wasn't. They've kicked around the idea of a Halo movie. I think Halo would do good. I think Gears of War. They talked about that. They made a terrible Super Mario Brothers film. Dude, Assassin's Creed with Fassbender, and I love Fassbender. He's great in everything he does. But you hate the movie, right? So that's my point. Why are they so bad when they?
Okay, here we go. Here we go. I got it. This is why I couldn't remember it. I'm thinking movies. Witcher.
Right, but
Witcher was great.
You have more latitude when it's a series because you can tell.
Okay, so we're talking about movies, not just TV show. Okay,
yeah,
okay. All right. Video games turned into movies.
Right, that have been successful, or at least that you like, because there aren't any events that are successful.
Okay, all right. Max Payne wasn't really Max Payne. Lara Croft did all right. Detective Pikachu was good. I thought that was good.
Yeah, okay.
Rampage, I like that. That's another thing that King Kong made. Excellent, was because King Kong set the stage for Rampage. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah, but that wasn't really. I mean, how was that based on a fucking video?
Silent Hill. The first Silent Hill was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah.
I figured I would have heard more about that if it was amazing. I know that Sean Bean was in the second one, I think, and that one wasn't bad.
And commercially during the time of 1995, when the first Mortal Kombat movie came out, I thought it was pretty decent for what they had to do.
So that is the exception that I can think of. That actually put techno on the map too when it came to mainstream film, because that soundtrack was basically all techno, and so that did a lot for that. But yeah, so I love. We're gonna explore that too, I think. But yeah, so anyway, wrapping up King Kong versus Godzilla, I think that
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
You give it a
high. I'm gonna give 7 out of 10.
It's real high. That's
way
higher than
actually, no, I retract it. It's a 6 out of 10. Honestly, 6 out of 10. I almost gave it a 7 just because of what they did with Godzilla. Not with Godzilla. I'll do a 6 out of 10.
Do you think they're gonna make another one?
They said they have no plans, but there was also no plans for us making a DC film that was 4 hours long, and it happened to happen 4 years in the future. So I'm putting this at 6 out of 10 for Godzilla versus King Kong in the chat. Shelly, I don't know. I didn't get your rating. We'll have to figure out ratings later on. I like the 10 out. The 10 is the highest.
Yeah, because you could do like a 6.5 or whatever. I agree. I think 6 out of 10. I think that if you're a fan of the MonsterVerse, you should definitely see it, and you probably will. That's why the audience score is 95.
Definitely. But I think give it a shot, guys. I mean, how often do you see King Kong and Godzilla versus a film? You know.
There you go. Think about it. That's put brilliantly and beautifully. I couldn't agree more, Nate.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, so that wraps up this episode of Godzilla versus Kong. King Kong's my boy. I'm probably gonna watch Peter Jackson's version at some point if I can find it online at some point today. But yeah, so chat, YouTube. Tell us what else you guys want us to review next. I think next week we're gonna do DC versus Marvel. I hope to get a lot of people in here. Chris, I'm leaning on you. You better bring a Marvel fan.
I have to.
Bring a Marvel fan. I'll bring a DC fan. I'm gonna lay it down. I know you're a Marvel fan.
Dude, my knowledge base of this of the canon is it's the shallow end of the pool, man. I mean, it's shallow, so I know I'm gonna have to bring it because
you have to bring it. I'm gonna lay down the smackdown. This is gonna be a long, hour-long session.
We need rules too, man. We need
rules. What rules? Yeah, there's no rules in fighting.
I know. I gotta figure out how we're gonna do this because I feel like I'm gonna get steamrolled. I gotta be ready for this combo. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I love these conversations. I think that
I do too.
I think that Marvel's gonna have it's going to be hard to argue with the financial success of what Marvel has done, and that's going to be the beginning to my thesis. And
okay, we'll have to lay it down. We'll discuss people and stuff like that too. We'll break it into categories. Let's do that. Break it into categories. We'll do comics, we'll do TV and cartoon animation, and movies.
I guess.
We'll do 3 categories.
Yeah. All right.
We'll do 3 categories, and then depending on who wins and who else comes on top of that, based on our discussion. All right.
All right, man. It's a date.
All right, let's do it. And thank you so much, chat, for joining us. Shelly, thank you so much for subscribing and following us as well. You can find this episode on YouTube. I'll try and edit it together and get it out there this week. Next Saturday, 6 p.m., Marvel vs. DC. Tell us what you guys think. Jump in the chat. We want to get a discussion rolling. I want to get a lot of people in here. Chris, bring a lot of friends in. I'm going to try and bring my friends in and stuff like that too, friends and family.
So I'm bringing one friend, right?
No, as a guest, yes. But no, I'm saying bring more people into the chat. I want a discussion going. I want some arguments going. I want to see what people think. You know?
We should figure out a way to make polls. I think we should. If we had to do polls,
Instagram, we can do polls.
I like it. All right.
You can also just research on YouTube and chat Twitch to see if we can put polls in Twitch as well too.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have meters or something like that. I need to look into it. But this has been fun. So Godzilla vs. King Kong. I have a 6 out of 10. Chris, what was yours?
I have a 6 out of 10 too.
I didn't see it in the chat. You better put it in chat.
All right. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to admit that it's 6 out of 10 because somebody will be like, "You gave it as high as a 6."
I will say King Kong wins because you said it was a King Kong movie. So I come out on top of that. I'm sorry.
I will say King Kong wins, but I will put Godzilla forever in chat.
All right. Thank you so much for editing the stream. YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Respect each other. Respect yourselves. Take care, guys.
Have a good night, guys.